day long, alright? Now, we love EJ here on the Jungle Queen, always like giving him a big wave. Now, you may have noticed, my friends, that your captain has slowed this boat down. Now, it wasn't just to wave at EJ. It was for a totally different reason, and you'll see it in just a second here, my friends. We are coming up to our first drawbridge of the day. Now, just up around this corner, this is 3rd Avenue Bridge. Now, we're going to pull up to this bridge, and it's going to open. A lot of people assume that these bridges are on a schedule. That is not the case. Here on the New River, all of these bridges operate on an on-demand basis. So what that means is that your captain is going to call up that bridge, request it to open, and it opens. Now, this is going to be an interesting one here up in front. Now, up in front of us here, we have a pretty large-sized catamaran. Just judging by the direction that he's going, I'm not too sure what he's doing. So, that's one way to do it. No, he's not. He's not trying to dock. I can guarantee you that. The fenders are on the wrong side. Oh boy. Now, here on the New River, communication is incredibly important. All of our boats communicate on VHF Channel 9. And I don't think he's on that channel. Now, as we continue forward, my friends, our first bridge tender of the day. We know all them by name, and I need a big favor of you. Everybody on this right-hand side of the boat, I need you to poke your head up and wave at Percy. Everybody say, "Hi, Percy!" Is he sticking his head out? Where's he at? There he is. Percy's my favorite bridge tender. Don't tell the rest of them. All right? Now, next up here, my friends, just a moment ago, I showed you the oldest hotel in Fort Lauderdale, and I'd like you to look on the left-hand side at the biggest hotel in Fort Lauderdale. Now, this hotel is so big that last night over 2,000 people stayed there for free, okay? And if you check in before 5, dinner is also free. Ask me what it's like, y'all. I've been 3 times myself. That's the Broward County Jail. That wasn't a joke. That is the jail. That big beige building is the jail. That pink building was the Broward County Courthouse. Now look, I got no shame in my game. I'm a changed woman. I like making you laugh. And I like making you smile. Before I tell you that those 2 buildings sit on a $97 million waterfront property. Okay? That's not funny anymore, right? It's the same case down in Miami. Their jail and courthouse is waterfront on the Miami River. If you'd like to take a trip to Jacksonville, their jail's waterfront too, on the beach. Here's the moral of my story. If you visit the great state of Florida and you don't like your hotel, just come on vacation and leave on probation. It is as simple as that. Now, coming up to us, my friends, we have drawbridge number 2. Now, this is Andrews Avenue drawbridge. Now, I told you just a second ago that these bridges are on demand and that there's no exception to that whatsoever. Now, if you look at this one, there's actually a sign. It says that it's closed 7:30 to 9 and it's closed 4:30 to 6. That is the only exception to when you can't open up these bridges. Now, I like to get all of my passengers to understand exactly how these bridges operate. Because if you have a dinner reservation downtown and you're running late to it, that bridge is going to go up, and if you see 12 yachts followed by the Jungle Queen, you just got to sit and wait. The boats on the New River have the right of way over car traffic. 3rd Avenue, for example, on a busy Saturday afternoon, it can go up 30 to 35 times in the hour. I didn't make that up, and you're going to see right now, in like 2 minutes, we're going to turn around, and 3rd Avenue is going to open up right back up for us again. Now, Andrews Avenue, you might also notice that the design of this bridge is a little bit different. The last bridge had 2 spans, and it goes up from the middle. This one has 1 span, and it goes up from the side. Now, they built this bridge in this fashion to be the fastest opening bridge in Fort Lauderdale. but something went terribly wrong. This is the slowest opening bridge in Fort Lauderdale, all right? So give him a second. He's working on getting it open. Now, one last thing that I'd like to tell you about this bridge right up in front of us here is that every bridge on the New River, these bridges are manned 24/7, 365. It could be Christmas morning at 2 in the morning, 4th of July, New Year's Eve, it doesn't matter. Somebody is up at that bridge station. Believe it or not, everything up to a Category 3 hurricane, there is somebody in that bridge station. Now here's the deal. They can't open the bridge in a hurricane, but it is staffed up to a Category 3, a Cat 4, and a Cat 5. They get the night off, all right? Now, give a big wave to our friends over here as well. Now, since the world's fastest bridge is still not open, I'm going to say one more thing. A lot of people like to ask me, how do you know if you need the bridge to open? So if you look on the right-hand side, on that wooden system, it's actually a ruler that goes down into the water. Right now, it is reading exactly 18 feet. So you need to know exactly how tall your boat is to see if whether or not you can clear that bridge. Now, as the tide comes in and the tide goes out, there's about a 3.5 foot difference. So in the morning, you might be able to make that bridge, and in the afternoon, you will not. Now, this bridge tender, he's pretty good at what he does, all right? They'll see you pulling up, and if he thinks that you don't need that bridge, and you ask for it to open up anyway, he's going to get your registration numbers and hit you with a $5,000 fine. Is it that serious? Absolutely not, but these guys have nothing better to do, okay? Give him a big wave up there on the right-hand side. I don't know if he's waving. Is he waving? Is he waving? I'm not going to lie to you. Andrews Avenue, he's not nearly as friendly. He waves with 5 fingers, he waves back with 1. I don't know what his problem is, but we try to wave at him anyway. Now, next up on your right-hand side, this is the only restaurant that I'm going to point out today that I have not been to. Brand new Greek restaurant called Santorini. Again, I haven't been here yet, but judging by how busy they are, highly recommend checking them out. Now, also on the right-hand side, we have the Wharf, Fort Lauderdale. Hands down, bar none, busiest bar in South Florida. You come out here at night, and this place is popping off. I highly recommend checking them out. Now, as you can see, we are turning this boat around here. Why is that? Take a look on your right-hand side at the next bridge. It says, span down in 1 minute. We have no control over that bridge, and if you look closely enough, that is a train track. That is not a road right here. Now this one is actually controlled remotely by somebody up in Jacksonville. They track the trains, they know how fast they're coming and when they're coming. That bridge goes down, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. That bridge will continue going down if you are underneath it. So you need to understand exactly how those drawbridges operate. We can't stop the train traffic, and if anyone has been around here long enough, we all know that the Bright Line trains stop for absolutely nothing, okay? Now, as we continue forward here, my friends, we have turned this boat around. So what does that mean for you? Well, first and foremost, if you missed absolutely anything on the way in, you're going to see all that same stuff now on the way out. You know what this also means for you? You don't have to hear my routine twice, just backwards, okay? So this is the point of the tour where I put the microphone down. I let you enjoy the sweet sounds of the river and the music that's coming out here. But before I let you go, just one quick announcement, and that is for parking. If you parked at the Bahia Mar Hotel, I recommend paying for it on the boat with us. If you buy a parking pass with us, it is $20, and that is good for 6 hours of parking. If you pay at the marina, they charge you $10 an hour. Option feels pretty simple to me. If you would like to pay for parking on the boat, all you got to do is visit Parker, your bartender. He can take care of you and get you a parking pass. Now, until then, y'all, once again, my name is Monica. everyone? Are y'all still having a good time? Yeah? Well, welcome to the second half of our tour. Welcome to beautiful Port Everglades. Now, we are not in the Everglades, we're in Port Everglades. That gets mixed up every once in a while. Now, we are currently cruising through the third busiest cruise port in the world. Now, I know that feels a little hard to believe on a day like today because we only have 2 cruise ships in town. However, we do make up for this with world records, all right? Port Everglades is the current world record holder for the most cruise ships to ever be at the same port at the same time. Back in 2008, that was 14 cruise ships. Now, in that same year, we broke a world record for the amount of people coming on and off cruise ships in 24 hours. That was 58,000 people. So clearly, a very well-oiled machine we got going on here. Now, along with that, here in Fort Lauderdale, we are the 3rd busiest in the world, but it doesn't stop right there. Number 1 and number 2 busiest in the world are also in the state of Florida. So number 1 is Port Canaveral up to our north, and number 2 is the Port of Miami just south of us. All right, so all 3 of the world's busiest are right here in Fort Lauderdale. Now, really quickly here on the cruise ships, I'd like to pause and show you this state park over here on the right-hand side. I highly recommend it to anybody visiting Fort Lauderdale. I told you in the beginning of the tour that I am born and raised here in Fort Lauderdale, and if anyone knows about the development that we've been going through lately, it is really hard to find real old Florida, and you can find it at this state park. Now, it's got a long-winded name. It's called Dr. Von D. Meisel Eula Johnson State Park. All right, my friends, there's a lot of history behind it if you feel like looking into that. Now, there's all types of wildlife that you can see in this state park, but my personal favorite are the monkeys. All right, ladies and gentlemen, over here on Dania Beach, there is a wild population of about 400 monkeys. Now, they are not native to the state of Florida, while a lot of monkeys are. This population in particular is not native. They got out while we were filming a movie back in the 80s, and they turned into the population that you see today. Now, also on the right-hand side here, we have Nova Southeastern University. This is their oceanographic campus on the right-hand side. This is a private university, really, really expensive to attend, but along with that, there comes a couple of perks as well. If you look towards the front of that campus, there is all that dockage and all those boats. Now, a lot of those boats are available for student use, whether it be for research or for pleasure, all of the above. But that dockage, 30% of it, on a first-come, first-served basis, is student parking. If you have a boat, a yacht, a kayak, a jet ski, it don't matter. 30% of that dockage is reserved for you on a yearly basis. Now, also up to the right-hand side, my friends, this is the best view you are going to get out into the open ocean. Now, this is the easiest time for me to explain to you why we are so busy for cruising here in Fort Lauderdale. Our location is second to none. If you get on that cruise ship and you go out this inlet, in 24 hours you could be in 30 different Caribbean destinations. And I didn't just make that number up, all right, my friends? As a matter of fact, we are so close to one of those in particular that from your chairs right now, you're closer to a foreign country than you are to the Florida Keys. Anybody know that? You go out this inlet in a straight line for 48 miles and you're in Bimini, Bahamas. All right? We are 48 miles away from Bimini. Now, before you ask, we got EJ again. Everyone say, hey, EJ! Every once in a while, he surprises me and he gets up on top of the wheelhouse every once in a while. Now, as I mentioned, y'all, we are so close to Bimini. It is 48 miles away. Every single boat that you have seen today, they can make it to Bimini no problem. And if you have a fast enough boat and the weather is flat calm, you can get to Bimini in 35 minutes. I'll take it one step further than that. We are so close to Bimini that you can get there by jet ski. You want to know how I know that? I've done it, and I wouldn't recommend it to the worst of my enemies. All right, my friends? Now, as we continue forward here on your right-hand side, over the course of today, you've seen a lot of waterfront properties, you've seen a lot of water view properties, and now we finally, of the first of a kind, we have beachfront properties. Now, if you look close enough at these beachfront properties, you might recognize that they weren't always beachfront. All right, my friends? Now, all of these houses have docks in their backyards. All right, you can tie up a boat or a small yacht, but that dock is all the way up on the sand. That didn't happen naturally, right? That beach showed up overnight about 20 years ago, courtesy of Hurricane Wilma. All right? Now, believe it or not, Hurricane Wilma is still the strongest recorded hurricane in the Atlantic Basin ever. She still holds that title, ladies and gentlemen. Now, some of the homeowners have gotten clever with their newfound beachfront property. Look at this guy in the pink house. He built a bunch of ramps, he's got a bunch of trailers, and all he's got to do is give his toys a kick and they slide right down into the water. This gentleman with the yellow sport fishing boat, he's not quite as lucky. This gentleman has been high and dry for 20 years. Alright, my friends. Now, the funny part about this guy is that clearly he's got a pretty good sense of humor about it. For the last 13, 14 years, he had a sign hanging off the front of that boat that said, "For sale if you move it." Alright, my friends. Now, continuing forward here, I promised you, my friends, that you were going to see some impressive yachts this afternoon. Now, unfortunately, June, July, August, that is the slowest season for yachting here in Fort Lauderdale. But we do have one that's worth mentioning. Coming up on the right-hand side, we have Motor Yacht Eminence over here on your right. Now, Motor Yacht Eminence, I'll rip the Band-Aid off. She is worth $90 million over here on your right-hand side. Now, Motor Yacht Eminence is 257 feet in length. Just for reference, that's 40 feet shy of an NFL football field. If you had seen the yacht that left 5 days ago, it was $375 million, and it was 465 feet. Now, Motor Yacht Eminence, I'm going to bring this back to the beginning of the tour where I said that one good idea is all it takes. This yacht is owned by a gentleman named Haim Saban. Now, he did a bunch of stuff throughout his career, but his big claim to all of his money was creating Power Rangers. Okay? He was the creator of the entire Power Rangers franchise. He was also a co-founder of Fox Entertainment. As you know, they sold to Disney. Haim Saban made $1.9 billion off of that deal. Now, coming up on the right-hand side as well, we have Motor Yacht Rocket. Now, Rocket is significantly smaller in size and a little bit smaller in price. She is worth $60 million. Now, the name Rocket will not help you out with the owner of this yacht at all. I'm not too sure why he went for that. This is owned by a guy named Jimmy John Leotow. That's exactly who you think it is, Jimmy John's, over here on the right-hand side. Now, just for reference, Rocket is a Fed ship. You don't need to know anything about yachts, just trust me when I say that Fed ship is the Rolls Royce of yachts. That is the nicest yacht that money can buy you. If you'd like to buy a Fed ship, there is a 7-year waiting list to start the building of a Fed ship. And if you'd like a quote on how much it's going to cost you just to build it, they estimate $1 million per meter just to build it. Alright? Now, over here on the left-hand side, we have our last restaurant of the day. This is 15th Street Fisheries. If you take any of my recommendations, y'all, please take this one. The food is average. The drinks are average. Why am I recommending it? That's not what they're known for, okay? They're known for feeding the fish. Right at that dock there are hundreds and hundreds of tarpon. Now, if you don't know what a tarpon is, full grown, they're over 6 feet long, hundreds of pounds. And those are the fish that jump up out of the water to grab stuff out of your hands, all right? I recommend it for the kids, even more so the big kids like myself, highly recommend. Now, going back to your left-hand side here, we got some more houses. I got this 2-story white house with the flat roof, okay? White house, flat roof. Now, I'd like you to look at this house for no more than 2 seconds, and what do you think is most noticeable? The window. windows. Right? Look at those windows. They are bright blue, they are shiny, they are reflective, and the owner keeps them spotlessly clean. That's his reputation after all. That's the CEO of Windex. No, it's not. I totally made that up. I have no idea who that is, but that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Anyway, taking it back over to your right-hand side, I got the second to last house on the street right here. Now, if you'd seen this home in the 80s, it was a one-story yellow house that was owned by Sonny and Cher. Nowadays, I don't know who owns it, but I know a lot about them. Let's look at the second floor all the way to the right-hand side at their bathtub in the window. I'm not telling a joke, you can see the bathtub straight through the window. Right? Now, I have been making fun of these people for years and years and years, and I had never seen a soul at that house over there, alright? A couple weeks ago, I'm in the middle of doing my bit. I hadn't even gotten to the funny part yet. Everyone's laughing, screaming, pointing. He's in the bath waving at the Jungle Queen.